Hey guys, this is Tor from TC, and I'm hanging out with Juan.
Yes.
Great bass player.
Thank you, sir.
Great pedal innovator, I think.
Thank you.
So we did an interview long ago.
Yes. We've known each other for a long time. Man. Yes.
And since then, I think you've always been into pedals, but
Yes.
right around that time, you were starting up, your whole pedal adventure with pedals and effects and all this stuff.
Right.
So how is that going now?
Well, if you can believe it, it's my 5th year this year. We had all these plans to do some wild party and stuff, but it was weird because had I known that the summer was going to be so dead for me, I would have done the party then. But I was planning on doing it in October, and now I'm like incredibly busy for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
You just never know what the career, because the thing with pedals and effects is that I'm also a touring musician, and a lot of these dudes that are here at GuitCon, they do their website full time.
Yeah.
It's like their YouTube channel is a full-time job. I mean, I think I could do that, but then I couldn't tour. And so I do both. So it's really difficult on tour. And, Nick now helps me because I knew I needed a guitar component. I think when you and I first met, my whole agenda was that I was sick of the guitar players dictating how pedals were worked and sounded. So I said, I'm going to start one that bass players could go to and see where I was at with it. And I thought that was cool, but then you still got a limited audience. And I was getting all these really cool pedals that I was actually dismissing because they didn't sound good with bass.
Yeah.
And then when I met Nick and I saw a like-minded dude, and then Nick would play pedals that I dismissed, and I go, actually, that pedal's awesome on guitar.
Yeah.
This pedal sounds great on bass.
Yeah.
Some pedals sound great on both. But I started going, man, that chorus is actually amazing. And he, so it opened up my head to like, let's bring in the guitar element. And one of Nick's first ideas to contribute to Pedals and Effects was the 100 pedals video, which went viral for us.
That went crazy.
Yeah. And it's just because Nick goes, because I came from the idea, like I said, when I do clinics and demos, for, whether it's Earthquaker devices or Ampeg or whatever, and I always have pedal boards, kids always go, what does it sound like when you step them all, turn them all on? And I'm always like, they always ask that, and it always sounds like shit, but then let's just do a video. So Nick's like, make it 100 though. Because I was like, let's break a record. And so Nick's like, make it 100, solid number. So we made it 100, and about 70 was when it started sounding like shit. So it sounded pretty good all the way around the 70 area, and then it just sounded like shit. Now there's all these, copycat dudes doing breaking records or whatever, and they can get it to sound good. But like, that wasn't our point. Our point was to answer those kids' questions.
Yeah,
like,
once and for all.
Most kids are gonna get shit. If you have $1 billion in gear or you're a pedal engineer, yeah, you can make it sound good, I guess. But so anyway, but like my point is that like we had our 5-year anniversary this year, and so I'm not gonna, it doesn't look like I'm gonna be able to do anything really special for it. But it's 5 years. It's a different world. Like it's so competitive. Like I see these dudes out here, and they, we're like one of the small dudes. I thought like, oh cool, there'll be all these guys on our level, and it's like no, there's guys here who have like 2 million followers. I mean, they don't do pedal reviews. Like one guy just does like metal covers or some shit, but it's all to help promote gear and stuff. And, we're definitely just kind of our own little niche, and we're not metal. We're not blues rockers. We're just sound freaks. And we want, when you hand us something, we want to see how extreme you can get. I mean, look at the kind of sounds. Like most dudes aren't going to gravitate towards something that I create. They're going to gravitate towards something that they can use in their band, so to speak, at least in their more traditional band. I always play in weird bands, or it's something that they've already heard on records or something. And Nick and I, especially Nick, he'll go to such an extreme to find out the weirdest thing that nobody's ever heard. And it's like, it's our pioneering nature to kind of like do that with sound. So I think that's where our site's evolved, and we're actually kind of, we do reviews of things that we love, but we won't do reviews of something that we don't love, because it doesn't serve the audience that we have. We're just trying to find more ideas to do just funner stuff.
Yeah.
One of Nick's ideas, was to do the vibrato, the Boss VB2.
Yeah.
So I'm known to use that. They made the
Wasserkraft
version.
version.
Yeah, exactly, the Wasserkraft. And then he's like, well, let's see if you can tell the difference. And 14 out of 15 times I told the difference.
Wow.
But it's like I played it for years. Yeah. And it's funny, when I first met, when Boss first played it to me at NAMM, this guy Aaron put headphones on, and I listened to it, and I go, it's not the same chip, is it? He goes, fuck, really?
Damn you.
He goes, no, it's not. He goes, you heard that in headphones? I'm like, I can just hear that there's something magical that happens in the original, that there's a certain connection with the envelope chorusing that isn't on the new one. The new one sounds like a lot of the other vibrato copies. The original one, I don't know, man. There's such a more humanistic vowel sounding thing, like out of the vocal thing in it, that it's not as articulated in the new one. It's still great. Nobody's gonna hear the difference. I hear the difference. So it makes me play differently. Yeah. So, and it also has a new switch on it, which makes it really cool. And I want to have both. But anyway, but point being is that we're just trying to do different things. We're not trying to just be a review site like a lot of these guys are, because I can't compete with that. Like that's what they do for a living, and full time, and tons of money and gear. Nick and I got free GoPros from GoPro, and we set up in the shop and just blast out videos that we feel are cool and fun.
But I think to me that's what I really like about the stuff you guys do, because it's as much as I enjoy doing a lot of times if I were to do this with a more traditional guitar player, he'd go like, oh, can you make it sound like the vibrato, well, the tremolo / vibrato in like an old blackface Fender amp.
Right.
And we can do that. It's designed to do that as well.
Yeah.
But, I like the fact that you guys kind of, you try to push the boundaries of what the technology can do and what the pedals can do. And especially because, especially with the tone print pedals, because the way we design them, typically they're fairly middle of the road. When you get them out of the box, it's not until you touch the editor that things can start to go really crazy. But we also always throw it in there, the ability for it to go like in all these different kind of directions, and that's what I like about you guys. That you.
Well, I love that you guys came up with that technology, because I love I really do love and use the vibrato tone print that I did.
Yeah.
It really had something that I couldn't get out of any other vibrato, and it's just nice that I could always go there and get it. Because me, as crazy as my head gets, I can't remember like a lot of times. So I just go in there, put it in there from the tone print. Boom, it's in there. There's that sound. I go, cool, it's right there. It's convenient as hell. So I really dig it. So, and you guys, I think you guys are always been on the edge of really creating great stuff. I mean, I used your chorus in the 80s, TC Electronic Chorus, so I've always been a fan, you know what I mean? So I hope you guys stay weird. That's why when you guys showed me that Juno thing, Nick and I were like immediately like, whoa, the Juno chord, that's awesome. Nick played through it yesterday. I go, do you dig it? Nick's like, I dig it. And I go, is there a way to adjust the rate, so because you guys are going to want to do it? No. And he goes, that's the whole thing. You couldn't do it in the Juno, so why should you be able to do it any other time?
Yeah.
It's the chorus that you get that's on a million records.
Yeah.
You don't get to fuck with it, which is cool. I think that's awesome. So it's both. It's restricting the musician and it's letting the musician go bananas,
So what about, as you said, you kind of juggle time between doing the YouTube stuff and then, touring. Yeah. What are you up to these days, music-wise?
Tons of hip-hop, man. It just kind of like came, like after Mars Volta stopped playing, I was doing a band with Cedric, the singer in Mars Volta, and it was called Zavala. So we really grinded out a solid year of demoing and gigging. Like, we went on a little, quick tour with Dot Hacker, and then we opened up for the Chili Peppers in Alaska, and we were trying to like feel it all out. Went back in with this really great producer, Dave Shipman, and he did like Tame Impala and the Flaming Lips records. And so we put out, and Robert Carranza was also involved, and we created this 6-song demo, but then, when you take that much time out to just focus on a band, then all of a sudden your bank account starts going like this. So I had to start working, and I, let Cedric know, hey, I want to do Deltron 3030, which is a hip hop group that already existed, but I'm friends with all those guys, and they needed a bass player, and so I told Cedric, I gotta like rejuvenate the bank account, and he was cool. He let me do it, but then the other guitar player, Dan Elkin, he ended up in Broken Bells because he needed to do it, and then next thing you know, when you start doing that, then the focus stops becoming the band, and then Cedric had started a new band, and then then it just kind of fell apart. So then I just focused on hip hop. So I did Deltron 3030 for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, I was doing a lot of recording with a rapper producer called John Wayne, who's actually in Europe. I think right now touring, but he's really big in the underground hip hop scene in LA and throughout the world, really. So I've been playing with him. I did some sessions with Mac Miller recently, who's a big rapper. Cool, I actually did do some session work for Frank Ocean. I didn't end up on the record, but like I got asked to do it, which was an honor. And just more hip hop stuff comes my way. And then now I'm in this group called Dr. Octagon with Cool Keith and the Automator and DJ Qbert. So we've been touring that this year. And actually, when I finish GuitCon, when I get home, the next day I play a show with Octagon, a festival.
Oh, wow.
With them. And then I'm going on tour for 3 weeks with this woman, Emily Saliers, that Tim LaFay had actually made the record, but he couldn't do the tour. Oh. So I'm doing the tour because it's a lot of affected bass, so they needed somebody who could handle that. So I'm pretty much doing that through November, and then just still doing clinics and demos and stuff. But glad that because I've been into hip hop since the 80s, and I've always wanted to do hip hop primarily. And it was just never, I was always in rock bands, and then I was in Mars Volta for 10 years. So to be able to do hip hop finally is really, just feel super lucky,
Do you get to play a lot of, do a lot of the weird sounds?
It depends on the artist. With Mac Miller, I did. But with John Wayne, I bring in a lot of weird basses. I always bring in like the Kayla fretless little ukulele bass. I have like a Gibson Ripper that the pickups can go out of phase, so that gets a weird sound. I bring my regular fretless. I have a bunch of acoustic bass fretless ones. Yeah. So I just give them weird fretless sounds. They love the fretless because it sounds like synth bass because it's no
moving.
Yeah. So I do a lot of that, and then some I've done a couple of drum and bass records with this guy Lee Bannon. So I do like weird super fast noise stuff, and he chops it up and puts it in his drum and bass stuff. So and I keep, Nick and I have talked a long time about, doing something together, and we've gotten together. We're just waiting to get the drummer that kind of connects us both. But we want to do something together. And then last year I toured all year with Juliette Lewis, and that was awesome. Brad from Rage Against the Machine was the drummer, and Brad and I keep playing. And so you got to have 5-6 bands always going or projects going, because that's the music industry today.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not in the Foo Fighters, and I'm not in Queens and Stone Age, so I can't just kick
Focus
it in that. And just stay in that one band and be cool. You got to do 5-6 bands, and it's actually, I always didn't like that. I was coming from the Metallica school where you just do one band and that's it. And I kind of dig it now. I love being able to get in a different environment with different dudes, different headspace, and go crazy. The hip hop dudes make records completely different than, say, somebody like Nick and I would make a record, than somebody like Cedric and I would make a record, or whatever. It's all completely different approach, mindset, sound wise. So it makes me a better musician, I think. I hope,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for dropping by here and doing these super cool tour prints. And it was fun to talk.
Awesome. Always tour. Thank you.